Good morning, everybody. Thanks, Brian. And welcome to a full moon practice. So remember, the full moon is an opportunity every 28 days to let go of anything that no longer serves you. And so when you're ready now, you're going to make your way from lying. Most people in the studio are lying. And make your way up into standing. And so I've flipped myself around today so that you can have more shade and airflow. So I've noticed a lot of you in the studio have put your mats the same way. So as you stand up, you might like to turn yourself towards me. You don't need to though, because you might prefer to be side on. And as you land and stand, whether you're at home or here, just notice how you land. Notice the weight on your feet. And notice very much so the left and the right today. So the left being the lunar, the right being the solar. And just notice, do you have more weight on one foot than the other? And if you're not sure, start to shift your weight from side to side. Feel what it's like when you put all your weight on one foot. Like you could almost lift the other foot off the ground and then go the other side. And then come back to where feels home for you and notice. Are you really even with the left and right, or is there a slight difference? Then become aware of your knees and if they're locked or soft. Then bring your awareness to your pelvis. And think about your pelvis being like an orb, and then the orb of your ribs, and then the orb of your chest, or the ribs and your chest, and then the orb of your head. And how do they stack up this morning? Notice what you notice, sense what you sense. And then notice your arm length, and you might like to take your middle fingers and just rub them across your pants and see if you can feel whether the ribs are tilted on one side, which will mean one arm's longer than the other. Notice what you notice. Use the mirror if you want. And then take yourself for a walk. And very much today, I want you to notice the sound of your feet. So walk at your natural pace. And I like to listen to you as well. And if you'd like to listen a little more, then put your fingers in your ears and really notice which one hits down harder than the other. And then pick up your pace. Nice. We go for a walk outside in the grass if you like. Pick up your pace and then slowly make your way back to your mat. And you do need a yoga block today. So if you haven't got one while you're upright, those in the studio, go and grab one from, they're in the bag, Brian, in the little stripy bag. And if you're at home, if you haven't got a yoga block, remember you can use the book, a big fat book. Sorry, I didn't preempt that today, did I? And then make your way down into lying. And if you would like to roll through your spine to get there, enjoy rolling through your spine. And just notice how it feels. And then make your way into lying. And totally up to you this morning. If you are comfortable with your legs long, maybe have your legs long and notice how that feels. If as soon as you get there you go, oh, I'm not very comfortable here, please bend your knees and plant your feet. And today is very much where we sort of divide the body in half and really sense what does the left side doing, what's the right side doing. So you could imagine that you are an ink blot on a piece of paper that's been folded and squashed, made a little butterfly, and then open back out. And notice, how do you spread out on the floor? Notice the right side from the if your legs are long, from your heel all the way to your head. What's the left side like? And just try, if you feel a real difference around the pelvis, that one buttock is sinking into the floor a lot more than the other, could you squeeze both glutes really firmly? Oops. Just make sure that you guys are muted at home. And let those glutes go and let them go and let them go and let them go. So do it several times to really relax the glutes. And notice if that changes your imprint straight away. Noticing the weight on the back of the shoulder blades, left and right, the weight on your arms. Notice where you're looking on the roof. Just blink your eyes open if they're closed. And then also turn your head a little bit from side to side and notice how it feels. And then come back to center. And let's all bend the knees up now and plant the feet. And as you do that, notice your imprint change. And that's an indication that your hip flexors might be tight or being held tight when you release your legs from long. Notice if it changes how you feel in your lower back. And then place your hands around the level of the diaphragm. And allow yourself to take 3 or 4 really gentle diaphragmatic breaths. So imagining that diaphragm is like a painted gold band around you. And as you breathe into your really soft belly, feel your diaphragm expanding in all directions. And then notice when you go to breathe out that the diaphragm just relaxes back into its dome shape. Two more breaths in this manner. Just notice, how does the left side of the ribs expand? How do the right side of the ribs expand? And then as you let the breath go, take a moment. And you might like this morning to dedicate this practice. It's a full moon practice before we move into the Christmas week. So you might like to hold everybody in your heart space that you will spend time with over the holidays. And then take a moment if you wish to set an intention around the full moon, which is an opportunity every 28 days to let go of anything that no longer serves you. Hold it deep within your heart. Ata Yoga New Shasanam. It is with great respect and infinite love for ourselves and all beings that we now come to this practice. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And placing your hands now so that your little fingers are in your hip creases. And as you breathe in, let your back arch. And pause at the top, let your breath keep flowing, and just notice if you've rocked towards one side of your pelvis or the other. And then let your back melt, like ice cream melting on the hot concrete. And do that again. Inhaling, arching. Notice if your tailbone was a rudder on a boat, which direction does it deviate towards? And then super, super slow. Release. Then move your hands up to your ribs. Remember, come high enough on the ribs that you'll be able to put a little pressure down. As you breathe in and arch this time, notice, do your shoulder girdles move? And as you breathe out and let your back melt, let it melt. Now slump and sink. And do the shoulder girdles follow the ribs? Do they roll forward? And then slowly release the front of the body. Doing that again. This time, if the shoulders don't move, encourage the movement. So as you arch, maybe press the shoulders back. As you breathe out, let the back go, let the back go. Slump, rolling your pelvis to your ribs and your ribs to your pelvis. Let your head tip back as you look to the ceiling. And slow motion. Let the front go. Then bring your fingertips to find the notch in the center of your collarbones and then slide your fingers out and you'll go under the collarbone. As you inhale and arch your back, and you feel the collarbones broaden as the shoulders press back. Then let your back melt all the way up to the base of the skull. Slump and feel those collarbones move down towards your pelvis. Head tips back, shoulders roll forward. Slow motion release. And let's take the fingertips to the forehead this morning and do the last one. Or two, we'll do one more, yep. Take a breath in and let your back arch. And as your back arches, draw your chin down or nod down and bring the forehead down with a little bit of pressure of your fingers. Then slowly let that melt. Let your head just come back to neutral. As you exhale again, you slump, you roll your ribs to your pelvis and you tip your head back. So it's like your eyes are looking up to your forehead. Use your fingers to encourage the head back. And then super, super slow, let everything go and come back to neutral. And take your hands off your body and notice your imprint. And maybe even slide your legs long if you want. And notice what you've got. I quite like with my legs long to slide my hands palm down underneath my lower back and just feel into the space on the left and right side of the lower back. Just notice any difference and then bring the feet back up. Now you might need to do a little arch and release if you can't remember, but can you remember which side of your pelvis you deviated towards? So if you deviated towards the right side of your pelvis, could you pick up the left leg? If you deviated to the left pelvis, could you pick up the right leg? So in other words, you pick up the opposite leg. Everyone okay? Yep, and take your hands behind your thigh, and we're going to release through the back of the body first. So on your inhaling breath, go to arch your back and feel like you're going to stomp that foot to the floor and resist so much with your arms that you don't let your leg move. And now just press less with your leg. Keep the same pressure on your hands or with your hands. And as your back lets go, you're going to draw that knee in. And do that again. Imagine you're trying to stomp your foot onto the floor. Stop. Feel the back of the body contract. Let it go. Let the back go. Let the back go. Now keep the knee quite close to your chest now as you go to straighten your knee. And you won't go too far before you'll find your edge. So the foot's facing the ceiling now. And so now you're going to arch your back, and it's like you're trying to stomp your foot on the ceiling, but you're stopping it. And then let your back go. Let it spread. Let it spread. And again. And let it spread. Let it spread. One more. Go to arch your back, resist your leg from moving, and let it spread, and let it go. And then we're going to release the foot down. And just notice straight away the difference you often can feel in the back of the pelvis. And let's do it. Let's roll over onto the back and really release the back of the body first this morning. It's my mantra in December. Lots of back lifts, lots of alternate nostril breathing, because everybody in the outside world can be busy even if you stay really calm, and the whole pace of things speeds up. And so what happens is we all go into green light, go, 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 go. Green light pattern, if you like, from somatics. So bring your head to center and hands underneath your forehead and rock your pelvis gently from side to side. So when you feel in your life that you're in go, go, go mode, then you need more back lift to release that over activity through the back of the body. And then come to stillness. We're working just on the side that you were just using. So bend up that knee. Press down into the ground with all of your points of contact. Feel the front of the body contract. If you press down through the top of the knee, you might even feel your pelvis lift a little. Now let the pelvis melt into the floor. Press down with your forearms and lift your chest, and then maybe lift the knee. Let's slowly straighten that knee, if you can, with your leg up, and then lower your trunk as you lower the leg. Lifting, bending the knee, same side. Press down through the front of the body. Let it spread. Lifting the thighs, you lift your trunk. Remember to just look at your little fingers so you're not straining or the back of your neck. You want to keep that open. The base of the skull. Straightening the leg if you can with the knee up. Remember, you can put the knee down first if you need to. And then release. Nice. And then turn your head towards that leg and bring your arm into the Sphinx position. Just get myself orientated over here. And so your other hand could be down beside you or under your cheek if you need it. Now we're going to do a back lift, but we're going to lift the same leg as the arm. That's why we're in the Sphinx, because we're not actually going to lift the arm. Yeah. So just notice with this Sphinx position, if your shoulder's not happy, slide your hand up towards the top of your mat. Slide your hand down towards the bottom of the mat. Find the perfect position for your forearm to make your shoulder really comfortable. And then let's actually release the back of the shoulder first. So keeping the palm down, lift the elbow and press the palm firmly down into the floor. And then super, super slow, let the elbow melt down by lengthening that muscle from behind your ear to your elbow. Do that twice more, pressing the palm down, lifting the elbow, only come up as high as is comfortable for you, and take your time, slower release. Remember the pandiculations. We contract the muscle, we slowly, actively release it, smoothly, and then switch off. Last one. Then check that the tops of your feet and the tops of your knees face the floor. Feel free to press down first to contract the front. Now let the front go. You lift your chest, let your shoulder blade glide over your ribs, and lift your long leg. Keep it in line with your spine. And then super, super slow, let the back lengthen, let the back lengthen, let the back lengthen to lower you down, switch off. If you can't release your shoulder, feel free to bring this arm out into a T. Press down, release. Lift your trunk, look to the floor or look to the thumb, glide the shoulder blade over the ribs. You lift the same leg. Slow motion release. Let everything switch off. So I like my arm in a T because then I can really let my shoulder release and the back of my shoulder blade go. So change your position if you need. One more time, press down, release. Remember, come up half as high, twice as slow. Completely switch off, squash your face. Then bring your head to center and rock, rock, rock. Rock your pelvis. Feels quite strange, doesn't it? One side's released and one side's not. And then come back to center and roll over onto your back. And as you come to your back, just notice your imprint might be really different after that concentrated back lift. Knees bent, feet planted, or legs long if you prefer, your choice. And we're going to do a half flower on this side and a half arch and flatten. So let's start with the arch and flatten. So take your hand, arch and curl. Take your hand behind your head, same side. Pick up that foot on the side you're working. If you straightened your legs, make sure you bend them up now. So your other leg's bent. Yep. Take a breath in and let your back arch and press your shoulder girdle back. As you breathe out, let your back go. Tuck your elbows, sink your ribs to lift your head. That spare hand can come on your ribs if you like to help you. And curl. And now stop your leg with the hand and then slow motion release the upper body. And let's add the rotation straight away. So when your arm comes out, roll your leg out. So you're in a frog leg. Place your foot down close to your pelvis in this shape and slide that leg away. Just watch that your pelvis is level. So the other leg may need to roll out. And then start the next one with your leg long on the floor. Hip, knee, and toes face the ceiling. Take your hand behind your head. Breath in, press back through your shoulder girdle and press your heel down, contracting the back of the body. Let that go. Tuck the elbow in. Slide the leg up to bent and rock to the inner blade. Now sink your ribs to lift your head and then lift your foot. If you're going to resist the leg, the hand's on the inside, the spare hand. And now don't move your leg as you slow motion, like you're lifting your head off your shoulders. Let your head touch down, let your arm come down. You're going to touch your foot down in this shape, so you're on the inner blade. The leg will be brushing past the the other leg. Anyone want to give me their spare leg? And then let the leg release. No, we need to, if we can, keep them. And just notice. And then frog leg that leg up. Plant your foot. Take your spare hand and bring the second hand and bring it across to your ribs. That's why I said it, didn't I? Because I say spare hand. And now we're coming into a flower. So again, we're still moving on the first side of the body, right? We're just doing the whole sequence on one side. So with your hand out into a soft T or even a V, on your inhaling breath, arch your back, press your shoulder blade back, like you're trying to slide it across your back to the back pocket of your jeans, and let your arm follow and roll. Let that knee roll out. Half flower. As you exhale, let your back go. Let your back go. Sink your ribs, slump. Spiral the arm inwards as the shoulder blade tries to roll across the front of the body. Squeeze your knees and end up on the inner blade of the foot. Head tips back and probably to one side. And then slow motion melt. And when you release your arm out, slide your leg away and switch off. And then frog leg your leg up. Let's do it again. So inhale, let your back arch. Really feel like you're trying to tuck your shoulder blade underneath, like you're trying to take it across in the back lift to the opposite hip. Let the leg roll out, let the arm roll out. Chin will soften to your chest. As you exhale, let the back melt. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Spiral that arm in as you slump. Squeeze your knees beyond the inner blade of the foot, lifting your little toe. And now slowly release, but keep your knees together in this position. Release your belly, chest, shoulder, arm. And now slide the leg away on the inner blade of the foot. Slide it all the way to long. Frog leg the leg back up. If you feel like you need one more, take one more half flower or just rest for a moment and notice your imprint. Notice if you need it. If you're doing another flower, you might like to slide the leg away like we just did as part of it. Nice work. And then bring both legs up when you're ready. Take a moment to feel though. You've just arrived there. And notice your imprint. And now take your hand on the first side, straight up from your shoulder, and let's come into a scapular sling, only on one side. So just let your other arm relax down beside you. So you're going to roll your ribs towards the second side and reach your hand straight up to the ceiling, and then slowly roll the ribs back down. You'll notice that you do press down through your feet, and particularly the second side of the body, that foot, as you roll your ribs and reach, and then slowly melt. Hopefully that should feel really nice and easy after we did that extra release through the back of the shoulder on your belly. And try not to let your hand go across your body. Rather, let your hand go straight up to the ceiling. That's it. It's good at home. And then slowly let the shoulder blade release. Bring your hands together in temple mudra, so both hands up. You're only rolling towards the second side. So roll your ribs like a barrel towards that second side, and then slowly come back to center. And off you go. Roll your ribs. And be mindful that that second elbow doesn't bend. Keep your elbows straight and enjoy. So nice. Enjoy being in your body, moving with your body. And then gently come back to arms upright. Just take your spare arm out of the way and bring the movement arm down into a T. And actually, before we do some release through the side body, we better check what's going on with your pelvis. So place both hands on the top of your pelvis. Use your first web space to really press down onto the rim of the pelvis. And notice, is one side hitched up more than the other? And let's just notice what you've got. And then could you turn your pelvis towards this first side? And slowly bring your pelvis back to level. And for curiosity's sake, go to the second side and come back to level. So take your time. And I'm curious, is it easier for you to turn your pelvis to your first side? Show of hands. Okay, for the rest of it, for the others, is it actually easy to go the other side? Or is it about the same? Because it's interesting that we chose this is the tighter side, yeah? The one I got you to pick your leg up on. And if you're going to hitch your hip, it's probably going to be the tighter side, because it's part of why this is your tighter side. So let's just hitch to that first side now. So hitching up to the first side like you're turning a steering wheel, and slowly bring your pelvis back to level. Imagining your pelvis as a steering wheel, remembering you're not arching the back, you're keeping the steering wheel level in the horizontal plane. So if you feel like you arch your back, do a little arch and release first, and do one more, turning towards this first side. Hold with the pelvis hitched up on that side. Keep breathing as you hold. Notice what's happened to your knees. Feel how the second knee is lengthened away. And now put your hand down on the floor and slide your hand towards your foot. So we're really tightening the ribs now as well as the waist. Now slowly bring your pelvis back to level. Bring your arm out into a T as your ribs come to level. And then slide this hand up towards the top shelf as you tip your pelvis away. It might be easier too with your feet and knees together. And then slowly bring the pelvis back to level. Bring the arm back into a T. If you need your hands on your pelvis to do your steering wheel, bring them back. Hitch towards this first side without arching your back. Remember, arch and release if you do. Then reach towards the foot. Let your head and your ribs come with you. Slowly bring your pelvis back to level. Tip your pelvis away now as the ribs are level, and you reach your arm to the top shelf. And then slowly bring the pelvis back, arm back, hands on the pelvis if you need it, hitching, reaching, back to level, ribs and pelvis. You could do a cactus arm if you'd like now, and then reach that arm to the top shelf, looking towards the armpit or the shoulder or the elbow as you tip your pelvis away, and then let your pelvis come back and let everything come back to neutral. And just straighten your legs for a moment if that's where you are comfortable starting. You notice what's going on in your lower back. Starting to feel a difference? And then frog leg up. And you're going to roll onto your second side. And because we've had such a great time in the last 4 or 5 sessions working through our side bends, let's keep going with it. We're going to do 2 really good ones. So remember, you might need something underneath your head to support you. I haven't got anything today, so if in doubt, grab your mat and roll it up. If you haven't got anything else. My little ears are really going to look forward to a break from teaching because the AirPods are really big for my little ears. They're sore. Bend up your knees and bring them to a right angle at your hips and knees. And then straighten your top leg if you like. So you can either do it with the top leg straight or both knees bent. Take your hand into your first web space into your waist. You can do the back lifts here. Just check that you really are on your side and you haven't rolled back or forward. Or you might like your arm long. So we're only doing 2, so I want you to pick your version from the last few weeks that's been working for you. Remember, you can come up on an in-breath or an out-breath. So I've been playing with an in-breath, breathing into the bottom ribs. Let the bottom ribs open as you reach your hand towards your knee, condensing your whole side to lift your head. Let those ribs really condense on the top so there's no strain in the neck. And then super, super slow, let the whole side lengthen to lower your leg, to lower your head, to lower your arm. And you might even like to take your hand and take it over your ear to finish. One more when you're ready. Preparing to move. Concertina the side, either exhaling or breathing into the bottom side. Slow motion, opening up. Take 2, 3, even 4 breaths. Take your time. Take your time. And then let your arms sweep over your head if it's good for your shoulder at the end. Switch everything off. Then bring your knees back together. Feet line up with your sit bones so your knees are a bit more open. Arms sliding. So really rolling your ribs and drawing your arm across your body. Try and keep your knees and your pelvis still so that you're really working the upper body. And remember, you'll turn your head and your chest towards the floor and then really enjoy opening up. Couple more. And then come back to your side. And before you do your propeller, come up onto your elbow. So remember, if the floor is hard, you can roll your mat again. Feet and knees together, heels line up with sit bones. Lifting up, you can add the arm in a sling and rotate if you like, or if you just want to work on your strength today, just lower and lift. And lower. Now, if you find that really hard, put your top hand on the floor and push down through your fingertips or your block. So if this is still quite a hard move for you, put your block in front and your hand on your block and use your hands to help you lift up. So we're trying to strengthen the side body. So that would be a gentler version, and then a deeper version is to lift up. And when you've had enough, so I want you to even try, even two, even if you just lift your hip twice, because this is about trying to strengthen your side so we don't keep going back into a side bend or a steering wheel. Then release yourself down for propeller. For those who want to do more, keep going with your side bends, or your side lifts, I should say. For propeller, remember you bend up the bottom leg even and straighten the top. Try to put those two words together. And then you're going to roll your ribs open, dragging your arm across your body or over your head as you bring your leg forward. Remember, you're moving from your center. So your arm and your leg are being moved from the motor. And then when you feel like that's enough propeller for you, if you could ever feel like there's enough propeller, it's one of those moves I feel like I could do all day if I had the time. Then pause on your side and come up onto your hands and knees and go through a round of cat-cow. And just notice, your brain loves contrast. That's why this class is so powerful when we do the whole sequence on one side. And go slow because it'll feel strange, or it may. It'll feel interesting. It's probably a better word. And just notice how the first hand hits the ground compared to the second hand. Notice how that second side to me feels really heavy, my hand and my shin. Notice what you can sense. And then it'd be quite fun to even come up into standing and go for a little walk. So take your time, roll up however you want. Pause for a moment because you might feel quite strange. I'm just going to come out of shot for you at home. Whoa. Notice the weight on your feet. And then with your eyes open and slowly, gently, just go for a walk. And notice how lightly the first side is hitting the floor. What's happening to the second side? You're all really quiet because you've just released the tighter side. And so that means the other foot is going to hit the ground quiet. And then come back. Oh, I don't want you on my mat. I got a bull ant. How do I get a bull ant? Just going to take my little bull ant outside. Bye-bye. And then come down onto your mat. And let's actually go straight onto our belly. We're just going to change the order a little. So come straight onto your belly and we're going to release the back of the body first. So as you come down onto your belly, we're moving to the second side. So just tune into which side that is for you. And bring your head to center and rock, 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 rock. Come back to center, bending up both knees. Press down through the knees, the top of the knees. Press down through your elbows and your forehead. And then let your pelvis spread into the floor, lifting your chest. And maybe lifting this second leg. Now remember, this is your second side, so go gentle. You want the front of your hips to stay down. Then if you can, you straighten the leg or you lower the knee and then straighten the leg. And then you slowly release. Switch off. Bend up the knee. Press down with the tops of the knees. Pelvis might lift off the floor, contracting your front of your hips. And then let the pelvis spread. Lift the chest, pressing down with the forearms. Remember to look at the little fingers, keeping the base of the skull open. Maybe you lift the knee. Maybe you straighten the leg. Slowly lower your leg as you lower your trunk. One more. Press down, release. Melt the pelvis as you lift. Lift the knee, straighten slowly, and lower. Then rock your pelvis again from side to side. Start to notice the evenness of the movement in your lower back from that. And then you're turning your head so you can bring your arm either into the Sphinx position. And remember, then you'll slide your arm up and back to find the right position for you. Or take your arm out into a T. Pressing down through the tops of the feet because your hips, knees, and feet are facing the floor, hip width apart. Let that go. Lifting your trunk, the same leg as your arm, and you slide your shoulder blade across your ribs. Feel free to look at the floor, chin soft, or chin soft as you look to your thumb. And slowly release and switch off. So this is definitely not my tighter side. And so I'm only going to do 2 on this side because it's more coordinated than the first. So if that's the case for you, just do 2, otherwise do 3. Take your time. Contracting the front first, releasing the front. Watch that your ribs are not rotating, but rather your shoulder blade is gliding across. Remember, come up half as high, twice as slow. If you're doing one more, twice as slow, half as high. And if you're on your forearm, let your elbow stay down. You're all looking okay, actually. In here, I jumped up and no one needs me. And then come back, and we need to do the back of the shoulder on this side. So now everyone bring your arm out into that Sphinx position, meaning your forearm is down. Check that I'm in the screen. Yeah. And as you inhale, you lift the elbow, pressing down through the palm of the hand. And then slow motion, imagine you're lengthening the muscle from behind your ear all the way down to your shoulder. Maybe you imagine it's all the way to your elbow. If there's tension in your neck, pick up your head and lift it back into the center a little more. Press down through the hand, lifting the elbow, and then slow motion melt. Take your time. Switching off. One more. And then bring your head back to center and rock, rock, rock. Legs long or knees bent. And just notice, how does that feel? Notice if your head's even moving, your ribs, what's happening. And then when that feels good for you, you will roll over onto your back. And then you need to hold on to the back of this thigh, the leg that we were just lifting on the floor, and hug it towards you, interlacing both hands. As you breathe in, let your back arch, and imagine you're stomping your foot onto the floor. You're resisting. And then let your back melt, let your back melt, let your back melt. And as you let your back melt, your hands don't change. The resistance is the same. And so your arms will bring your leg in. As you arch, imagine you're trying to stomp the foot onto the floor, resist with your arms. Keep that tension in your arms and your upper body, as in you're holding the leg. And then let your leg go at the back, and your arms are just going to gently bring it in. Hold it into your chest now and take the sole of your foot towards the ceiling. And from here, you imagine that you're trying to stomp your foot onto the ceiling, resisting with your arms. Keep the tension in the arms. Let the back of the body go, and the leg may move. There's often not a lot of movement in this one. Again, go to arch. Have your other knee bent and planted, so the foot planted your lower back stays really relaxed, and then release. If you need another one on this side, please do. And then stay where you are with this leg, and let's come into a bear cub. So bringing the other leg up and just enjoy the balance, or almost balance. It's not quite the same for me yet, as you rock from side to side. And then put that first foot back down and let this leg stay up. And let's come into an arch and curl and leg side on this side. So take your hand behind your head and your spare hand, the first hand, could come across onto those ribs. On your inhaling breath, let your back arch and your leg might float away like you're trying to put the foot back down. Press the shoulder back, feel the back contract, blessings, and then tuck the elbow in, sink your ribs to lift your head. If you want to resist your leg now, please do. Hand on the front, or back of the hand on the front of the thigh, and slow motion release your upper body. When your head touches down, you'll bring your arm out. Touch the heel down with the toes up. Actually, no, we just went straight into rotations, didn't we? So touch your heel down and roll your leg out to frog leg and slide. Keeping your back really relaxed and your pelvis level. So my other leg naturally rocks out to keep the pelvis level. Then keep the leg long, hip, knee and toes face the ceiling. Hand behind the head. Press down, so we're doing like a one-sided back lift here. Roll into the inner blade of the foot and just leave your foot on the floor. Let your back go now as you exhale. Tuck the elbow, sink your ribs to lift your head, then pick up your foot as an afterthought. Slow motion release the upper body. And when your head touches down, bring your arm out. Touch your foot and glide that leg away on the inner blade. Let everything go. Then frog leg the leg back up. Half flower. So arm out into a comfortable position for your shoulder. So it might be a T or a V. Spare hand, feel free to bring it across onto your ribs to help you sink the ribs. On your inhale, let your back arch and just roll that leg out and feel like you're gliding your shoulder blade across your back to your opposite back pocket, and then let your arm follow. Chin or soften to your chest. As you exhale, let the back go. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Slump, spiral that arm in. Roll your leg in. You're on the inner blade, your little toes lifted. You're squeezing your knees together here. And now keep your legs where they are as you slowly release. Belly, ribs, chest, shoulder, arm. Let your head nod to neutral and slide that leg away on the inner blade and switch off. Frog leg your leg up. Plant your feet, hip width apart and parallel. On your inhale, let your back arch. Really tuck the shoulder blade under, like you're tucking it across your back. Then let your arm follow, knee rocks out, chin softens, ribs open. Let that go, let the back go, let the back go, let the back go. Slump, spiral your arm in. It's like you're trying to draw your shoulder blade over your ribs to put it into your front pocket of your opposite jeans. Squeeze your knees, you're on the inner blade of the foot. Slowly release. Let your arm rock back and slide that leg away on the inner blade. Have a moment of melt. You might like to take both legs long. You might like to slide your hands under your lower back and have a little feel. Notice your imprint. And then come back up. If you feel like you'd like one more flower with both arms, now that we've done each side, feel free. So it's an inhale, an arch, opening both knees, rolling both arms. Feel those shoulder blades trying to crisscross across your back. Then let that go. Slump. Feel like your shoulders now are trying to cross over to your opposite front pelvis. You're on the inner blade of your feet, little toes lift, slow motion release. Your arms, if you wanted to slide your legs away, just do one leg at a time. Slide on the inner blade and let it relax. Slide the other, let it relax, switch off. Then we'll frog leg up. Take this second hand up to the ceiling and roll your ribs like a barrel to the first side and reach. Watch that you're not taking your arm over to the side, but straight up to the ceiling. It's about letting go between your shoulder blades. You might even light your feet together as you start to do this. Off you go, rolling and reaching, rolling and reaching. Let the movement of the ribs initiate rather than reach and roll. Can you roll and reach? Roll and reach. And then coming back to center. Bring the other hand up, temple mudra, elbows stay straight. Roll your ribs away. Keep your elbows straight. Roll your ribs away. Keep your elbows straight. Off you go. Roll your ribs away. Keep your elbows straight. Nice. And if you'd like to go side to side now, feel free to go side to side. And if you want to add your legs, as you roll your ribs to the right, you tip your pelvis left, come back and swap. And just let it be a flowing movement. So once you add your legs, you know your ribs are not going to roll quite as far. And then pause when you come back from your second side and bring your arms down. So we need to check the height of the pelvis before we come into this side release. So notice with your hands on your pelvis if it's level. Hitch it then towards the second side. Remember to focus on lengthening the first side. And if so, then do a little arch and release, and then bring your pelvis to level. This time as you hitch up on this second side, really focus on lengthening. So if you find that hard, imagine your knees moving forward as well as your waist lengthening on that first side. That might help. And then reach your hand down towards the foot, letting your head and your ribs come with you. And again, this is about your first side letting go. So breathe into those ribs. Let that side go so you can reach towards your foot. Notice the word towards. Slowly come back to level everywhere. You might need to check that with your hands. Then with your arm out into a T or a cactus straight away, you tip your pelvis away and slide your arm up to the top shelf. To move down a bit. And let's do that again. So hitch up to the second side. I actually need to do an arch and a release first on this second side today. Then reach your hand towards your foot, lengthen that whole first side. If you're really struggling with that lengthening, take that first hand up over your head. Really feel the length on that first side, along the floor, but on the up above your head. And then slowly bring your pelvis to level, arms out into a T, tip your pelvis away, slide your arm up to the top shelf. Is everyone okay? We've combined two movements here. Back to center. Gentle little hitch. You might need to arch and flatten first. You might need to lengthen that first side by even taking your arm above your head. Then reach down towards your foot. Do whatever you need to feel the first side lengthen to allow the second side to shorten. Then back to level, arm into a T or a cactus. Tip your pelvis away as you reach that arm to the top shelf. Is everyone okay? You're okay? Good. One more time. So you hitch your pelvis, you turn, make sure if your back is arched that you release your back. What do you need to do to lengthen the first side? Then slow motion. Back to level. Watch you don't go back to your original hitch. Then tip your pelvis away and reach to the top shelf. Nice. Pretty sure we've done everything on that side now, haven't we? Haven't forgotten anything? No. And then when you're ready, just check your pelvis is level, that you've come back to level, and roll over onto that second side. Sorry, first side, second side on top. Roll over to do the second side, but the language should be roll over and lie on the first side. Thanks, Denise. So I don't confuse you. And we're going into your arm bend. Sorry, your side bend. I'm just adjusting my neck here. So remember, if you don't have anything, you can even put your block under your head. And let's have both knees bent up at a right angle. Bring your toes forward so you can just see your toenails past your knee. That's a right angle at your knees. And then if you want to do it with the top leg straight, then straighten that top leg. You choose where your arm is, first web space in your waist, arm long, or take it up over your ear. Inhale, maybe to lift, or inhale to prepare. Just play with the breath. I'm enjoying breathing into my bottom ribs, opening them, then finishing my breath as I reach to my knee. Sink your ribs to lift your head. Slow motion. Slow motion. Let your waist open up. Let your side open up. And switch off. So just pause for a moment. For a lot of us, the side we're lying on was our tighter side. So try coming up on your in-breath and really imagine the ribs underneath you are like clamshells and you open them up as you breathe in. Because as those bottom ribs open, it's easier to close the top ribs. And reach towards your foot, finish your breath and just keep breathing now. Your breath cycle, I should say. And then slow motion, let your waist slowly open, let your ribs open, lower your foot, take your arm over your ear. If you would like to get all the hard things, the physically hard things done, then come up onto your elbow and do your side lifts. So just check that your elbow's in front of your shoulder so that when you lift up, it'll be underneath. Remember, if you find it hard, put your block in front, even on its high edge, and use your other hand to help you. If the floor's too hard, roll your mat. If you're taking your arm up, take your arm up. Those of you who want to then hold up and then just rotate and keep the hips up the whole time, remember you're really pressing your pelvis forward. Is it easier on this side? Yeah, interesting, isn't it? If it's once you've had enough, yeah, don't do too much. Is that making you dizzy? Yeah. And then once you feel that's enough for you, roll down onto your side again and go into your arm slide. So if you don't even want to do them, just go straight into your arm slide, Karen. And enjoy your arm slide. Knees can be a little more open. Let your ribs drag your arm along for the ride. It's like your arm's a passenger and your ribs are doing all the work. Remember to turn your chest back to the floor. When you're ready to go into propeller, off you go. Straightening the top leg, let the motor in the center of the body drive the arm and the leg. If it's okay for you to take your arm over your head, do so. And when you are ready, we're going back onto our back with the yoga block or the book. And notice your imprint. If your legs are long, you might like to slide your hands under your lower back again. Notice how it feels after you've released your sides. And don't forget, when your legs are long, it's really quite nice to do a bit of a hip hitch, or like you're just sort of pressing out through your heels and just feel your waist smooth, releasing through your lower back. You can even do that with your arms up above your head. And it's like you're reaching with one heel in one hand, and then you swap, and you swap. And there might be a little bit of an arch in your lower back. As long as it's like comfortable, that's okay. And then bend your knees. And we're just going to do 3 segmental bridges. So I can put my feet on my block and I don't cramp. But for some people, that's not going to work. So if you've got your bolster, you can put your feet on your bolster. Or if you're at home, you can put your feet on the couch. In here, you could put the feet on the wall. And but we're only going to do 3. So if none of that works, just keep your feet on the floor. Roll up into your bridge. Feel free to take your arms above your head and then slowly roll down. Enjoy it. Slow motion roll. Arch, flatten, pick up your pelvis. Slow motion roll. If your arms are above your head, remember you can snow angel your arms coming down, or you can keep them above your head. There's an arch and a flatten, then you pick up your pelvis, reach up into your bridge, slowly roll down. This time when your pelvis touches down, knees to chest, feet crossed, knees wide, rock away. Just notice what's your default leg on top or foot on top. And then find your block, kick it up to your hands, plant your feet, hip width apart and parallel. Let your back arch, let your back flatten, tuck your tail, pick up your pelvis, slide the block in. So remember, top of the block, top of the pelvis, if you're not sure where that is, you put your hands on your pelvis, slide your thumbs around the back, and that's the top, and then straighten your legs. If you're doing the middle edge, you're in the middle of the pelvis, slide your legs long. Taking your arms above your head, let everything relax. Everyone's happy with their block today? Crickets, which I gather means they're happy. Hope you're happy at home. Then we'll bend up one knee at a time, plant your feet. Remember to tuck your tail under to pick up your pelvis. Take the block out. Slowly roll down. You might like your arms back above your head. And when your pelvis touches down, bring your feet up. Cross them the uncomfortable way or the opposite foot on top and rock away. And keep rocking till there's no pressure in your lower back. So you may stay here for a good minute or so. If it feels like there's no pressure in your lower back, feel free to go to reverse abdominals, where you lift the feet higher, squeeze your knees together, and use your lower tummy muscles to bring your knees in. And then we'll we're not going to go up into cobbler today unless you really want to. So those are in the studio, if you want to do that, feel free. Otherwise, we're lowering the feet and we're going to repeat. Inhale, arch your back, flatten, pick up your pelvis. Into your bridge, slide your block under. Slide your legs long, arms above your head. If it's not comfortable, then take the block lower. Definitely you don't need to be on that higher edge of the block if it's not comfortable. Is everyone happy in here? Yep. And you straighten your legs. I've really been enjoying doing this after releasing this full moon practice, just to really free up the joints of your lower back. And then we'll frog leg one leg at a time, back up. Release your arms. Pick up your pelvis by tucking under first. Slowly roll down. Rocking knees to chest, you can go back to your default way. And then keep going with this and reverse abdominals, or this time add in cobbler. So you roll through your spine, you come up and you just fold forward into a cobbler. You don't hold it though, because it's about changing directions of the spine. Then you roll up, you roll through your spine and cross your feet the other way. And then you come up and come forward into cobbler. Rolling through your spine one more time. And then we're all going to come up. So if you're rolling through your spine, you can just roll up to sitting and make your way to standing. And as you make your way to standing, take your time. Hopefully your spine feels great. I'm going to come out a screenshot for a moment and into the shade. And just notice how you land. And notice the weight on your feet. And how does it feel? Bit different? Heaps lighter, hopefully will feel. And then rock your weight from foot to foot, left to right. And just notice how does it feel. Yum, yum, hopefully. And then notice the height of your hands. Those who've got a mirror like we have in here, you can use the mirror. Notice where you're looking and stack those orbs, and orb of the head, orb of the ribs, orb of the pelvis. And then take it for a walk. Mask on if you're happy. And notice how you feel. Different? Merry Christmas. Thanks, Thomas Hannah, Sarah Keys, every other somatic and yogi teacher who's passed this down to me. And then prepare yourself for Shavasana. And you might like today to take your legs up the wall. So, and Brian, if you want, you know where you sit to get dressed. Why don't you just take your mat and put your legs up on there? You could just turn that fan off. Anybody else? There's chairs if you want me to bring your chair in. There's a couple of chairs. And at home, yeah, legs up on your couch. An inversion would be great for this Shavasana. And prepare yourself. If you're at home, if you've got any of my nice music or your own music to put on, you might want to do that. Yeah, won't matter. I'm going to give it all a good clean at some point. And take your time to get yourself comfortable. Feel free to turn that fan off, Brian, at the wall, I reckon. Yeah, definitely. Just going to check this is working before we start. Oh, come on, you silly thing. Yep. Not too bad, actually. It's working quite good. So take your time to be as comfortable as you can. You're right with that cord under you. Is that going to work, Brian? Can we get in close enough?
Yep, I'm fine. That's good.
That's good? Beauty. Do you want a chair live or you're right? Great. Temperature wise, everyone's okay? Oh, Nick, I'm sorry. That wasn't turned on. Sorry.
As long as a lovely breeze.
And just notice how you feel. Definitely not a beginner's somatic practice, that one. We move fairly quickly. How nice are you? Cool. But notice your imprint and notice how you feel. And notice if you were that little ink blot on a piece of paper, how now? How are the left and right side of the body melting into the floor? From your head to your pelvis, from your toes to your pelvis, from your hands to your shoulder blades. Notice your imprint. And imagine this morning that you're lying on your favorite beach, facing the east, and you watch the full moon rise over the ocean. And you watch the moonlight dance across the water to your feet. And as you breathe in, imagine that you're breathing that moonlight in. Let it relax all of your toes, the soles of your feet, the tops of your feet, your ankles, your heels. Feel it meander up your legs and through your legs, spiraling around as you relax your shins and your calves, your knees and your kneecaps, your thighs. Let the moonlight pour into your pelvis. Let it fill all the bones, the organs, and the muscles of your pelvis. And become aware of your root chakra, Muladhara. And imagine this spinning vortex of a deep earth red, like Uluru. Spinning vortex, balanced and whole. Then imagine the moonlight traveling up through Sushumna, the energetic spine, to the top of the sacrum, Swadhisthana, a burnt orange, spinning vortex, balanced and whole. Then let the moonlight travel through all of the muscles, organs, joints of the lower back and abdomen. And bring the moonlight up through Sushumna to your internal sun, Manipura. Imagine this golden internal sun, spinning bright, balanced and whole. Oh, that's okay. Don't worry. No, I was giggling because there's some bull ants over there. Balanced and whole. And then let the moonlight travel through the diaphragm into all of the joints, the organs, and the muscles of your chest and mid-back. And let the moonlight travel up through Sushumna to Anahata. And imagine an emerald green spinning vortex, balanced and whole. Let the moonlight spread now into your neck, the front, back, and sides. And from Sushumna, let the moonlight move up into Vishuddha, the throat center. A brilliant sky blue, balanced and whole. And let the moonlight travel to your armpits and shoulders, and slowly down your arms to your elbows, lower arms, wrists, backs of hands, palms of hands, all of your fingers. Let the moonlight spread into the base of the skull, filling your scalp, skull, brain. From Sushumna, it travels through the spine, in through the base of the skull, to Ajna chakra, level with your third eye. A spinning vortex of indigo violet light. And feel this light spread into your brain, to your temples, your ears, both sides of your cheek and jaw, both eyebrows and the space between the eyebrows. Let it sink into your eyes, filling the whole of the right eye, the left eye, your nose, cheeks, lips, tongue, teeth. Feel, sense, and allow the moonlight to fill the whole of your being. And imagine that it cascades out through the crown of your head and cocoons you in a golden white light, balancing, rejuvenating the whole of your being and integrating the whole of our practice. Allow yourself to rest. Allow the moonlight to balance. And very gently start to bring your awareness back to your body lying on the floor in this room or at home. And notice your imprint and feel the full moon cocooning you, cradling you within its moonlight. This opportunity every 28 days to bring balance to your being, to bring balance to your life, and to let go of anything that no longer serves you. And then imagine now that you draw your in-breath from the core of the earth. Bring it to your navel. And let it spread into every single cell in your body. And then send your breath from every cell back to your navel and deep into the earth like an anchor or a root. Keep breathing this manner now and start to move in whatever way you feel guided. Maybe you just move your fingers and toes. If your legs are up the wall, you might like to bring your knees into your chest, or if you're lying on your back. And then gently make your way over onto your side and pause there, feeling the weight of the body grounding you. And then gently make your way up into a seated pose. And let's come into a little bit of a circle in here, which we sort of already are. I'll whack over here. Nick, you heading out? Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. So that you can be around the little Christmas wreath. I'll show you guys at home in a minute. And so sit either whatever's comfortable for you, cross-legged or in Vajrasana. And let's finish with some alternate nostril breathing. So if your nostrils are open and clear, then you might take your dominant hand and bring it up and touch the index and the middle finger touch the point between the eyebrows. But if they're not, do the practice mentally. Closing off the right nostril, you'll inhale through the left. Mentally count the length of the breath. And then pause, retaining for either half or the whole length. Then you gently open the right and let that exhale be smooth and consistent and the same length. Inhale through the right. Close the right. Open the left. Gently, smoothly, consistently. Exhale for the same length. This round, if you want to add the Mula Bandha and Khichari Mudra, mentally count the length of the breath. Retain. Engage Mula Bandha, Khichari Mudra. Tip of tongue, roof of mouth. Release the bandha and the tongue. Open the right and exhale for the same count. Inhale right. Close the right. Retain with or without the bandha and the tongue seal. Release them. Smooth, consistent exhale through the left. Do one more round on your own. Releasing the hand. Feeling the effects of this powerful practice, Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing. If you'd like to seal this practice with 3 arms, bring your hands to your heart space. Take a moment maybe to think of all the people you're going to spend the holiday season with again. Put them in the circle, put them in front of you, and dedicate this love to them. We'll rub the palms together. Take a breath in as you open your hands wide. It is with great respect and infinite love that we now conclude this practice. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. I honor that place in you where light, love, and truth dwell. For when you rest in that place in you and I dwell in that place in me, we are one. Namaste. Om peace, amen. Thank you. And there's little moon cards around. Can I do it? Oh, I'm going to show you guys. Sorry. There's a little moon cards around the reef. And sorry if you're at home, you two girls who live in Albury. You don't get to see the little reef. Have a Merry Christmas, you guys at home, and let's have a little chat in here. Bye-bye. I'm going to get out of this one.